Around the YouTube, it is Charles here. And I was sitting around just thinking, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys about more than comic books, more than action figures, and really the whole point of my channel. I know it may seem weird for a grown man of 47 years old to post videos 6 days a week about comic books and action figures. But the reason why goes beyond paper or plastic. Um, Around the age of 30, I was injured on the job. It wasn't a fancy job. It wasn't a cool injury moving something heavy. I was working as a convenience store clerk. I was a very good convenience store clerk. I was at a point in my life where I finally turned things around. Um, I had done a lot of careers, and after I went to college, I got into drinking pretty heavy and had an inconsistent work history around that time, bouncing job to job to job to job. But one job I could always go back to was a convenience store clerk. And at a certain time, I was able to get sober, and I got a very cool job at a church where I was directing music for a youth band, teaching kids how to play music, getting them organized, giving private lessons. And that was a way for me to make a little money while being in recovery from alcoholism and giving me something else to put my time into. But once that job ran its course, it was around the recession time. Parents weren't worried about lessons. Most of the kids that were there in the youth group had graduated, and we didn't have enough youngsters coming up to keep the program going. But I felt like, you know what? I did my job there for a couple of years. I got sober. I taught a bunch of kids how to play music. Kids who are adults now that I see around and all that. But anyway, that's where my mind was. And so I, made a commitment to whatever job I got after that. I was going to work it with a passion. And I went back to work in convenience stores, and I was getting raise after raise, and I would show up early and work extra hard. And one day I showed up early and I was stocking the cooler, and I took a step. I heard what sounded like a gunshot, and I ended up tearing every ligament in my knee. And long story short, a botched surgery and terrible rehab later. And after years of therapy and another surgery, trying to get that right, I was told that I would be permanently disabled, which triggered a lot of issues with me. I developed depression. Uh, I got very, very sedentary and had given up on life. But what got me through was collecting. First, it was videos. I enjoyed watching movies, collecting movies, finding, DVDs. And, eventually that got, I don't know, I kind of lost interest in them. But then one day I was at a video game store with my nephew, and he pointed out an action figure in an on sale bin. And at first I kind of chuckled at it, but I was like, you know what? I'm a big wrestling fan, and that's a good price on a Brock Lesnar action figure. I'll buy just one. And just one action figure turned into, okay, I'm not even going to count how many I have, but hundreds. And that action figure collecting led me to wander into a comic book store one day on a toy hunt. And that's how I got into comic books. But the thing that I discovered about collecting both action figures and comic books is it's not so much about the acquisition, but it's about the community, talking to people, sharing your joy from collecting. and what you're looking forward to and what's coming up, and trying to find the best price on things, shopping, planning, trying to find this within your budget, celebrating when you find a great deal, um, getting excited about the new stuff that comes out every year. There's so much to collecting, but the main thing it did for me is it gave me something I could do when my pain was so high I couldn't concentrate on anything else. When the stress of life financially got a little bit burdensome on me. When, I could always get on Instagram and look at other people's collections. I could, look at the comic book websites, see what's coming up. I could head out to the comic book store and just sit and shoot the breeze with other collectors. And it got me through. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a replacement for therapy. I did therapy, and that was a vital part, but there is just sometimes you have to have something you can put your mind to. You have to have a motivation, and you have to have a purpose outside of just living. And when I lost work, I felt like I lost that, but then I got into collecting, and I found a sense of community and hope and a smile when it seemed impossible. So I want to share that joy that I found with all of you guys. And you may be disabled like I am. You may have depression like I do. You may be able-bodied and going through a bunch of stuff I have no idea about. But I know that frivolity and a silly smile can be a lifesaver. And so that's why I put out these videos and why I talk about comic books and action figures, and why, my one rule is with this channel is I do not talk about anything I don't love, because there's so much negativity on the internet and even in these spaces. I want to be a place where you can come and you're going to see Charles in a good mood, and you're going to hear about something that I love. You're going to hear joy, and hopefully that joy can be contagious. And even if you aren't collecting, I hope I can inspire you to find your thing. And collecting has led to other positive things. Getting back socializing again. And even, with the collecting of action figures, it expanded my fandom of pro wrestling, which really got me interested in fitness. When I first got injured, I had ballooned up to 400 pounds. Big. And I just saw no hope. I saw no point in trying to do anything about it. But then, I got on the social media and I saw all these wrestlers talking about their fitness and their plans and their routines and their workouts. And it's like, I could do something like that. I could buy some dumbbells and chuck them around a little bit every day. And so I did. I bought me some dumbbells. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. Now I've been moving them things around for 4 years straight. I have a, regimen that I do, 6-day split, and, working out with just the dumbbells, not even able to do cardio because of my leg injury. I dropped 80 pounds, and I'm dropping a lot more now that I have strengthened my core, took off a bunch of weight, and I use a peddler, one of them under desk peddlers, those bikes. And I did 3 hours today. When I first got the thing this summer, I couldn't do 15 minutes. But that's what I want to share with you guys, to show you that, yeah, I'm old. Yeah, I'm broke. Yeah, I'm disabled. But I still got joy. I still got a smile. I still have a reason to wake up every day that is much deeper than the stuff we talk about here. But the stuff we talk about here kind of fills that gap and gets me on to the next moment. So anyway, I talked enough. I just want you guys to take care of yourselves. If there's something that you're curious about, you think it might put a smile on your face, give it a try. And that's about it. Like, subscribe, help me grow this channel. I appreciate every person that watches. I know I'm never going to be a big YouTuber, but I figure if I keep growing this channel, I might be able to get this in front of a person who needs it as much as I did. So y'all be easy. Thank you. And I'll see you next time. Until then, keep reading them comic books, keep buying them action figures, and let me know in the comments what your thing is, what gets you going, what gets you excited. I'll see you next time.